What's up everybody, it's Sean here and I am back today to give you guys a review of the Action Bronson New Balance 990 V6 in the Ainozama colorway. Today's video is sponsored by Capsule. Capsule is a brand new product on the market and it's meant for sneaker collectors to help preserve your grail sneakers and extend their lives by up to 2 times. So it's a very simple process. Basically, you stick your shoes inside these UV protective pods, which look just like this. So as you can see, I have my off-white Air Max 97s. This is one of those pairs that I don't wear too often, but because they're prone to yellowing, by keeping it in this capsule pod, it targets the 2 main reasons why your shoes fade, age, and crumble over time, which is hydrolysis and oxidization. So once you put your shoes inside this pod, then comes the secret sauce, which comes in the form of a cartridge. So you push in the cartridge, which not only pushes out the bad air in the pod containing the oxygen and the dirt, but then it injects the preservative, which when kept in this pod is the key to preserving the life of your shoes. So this is a scientifically backed formula, and if you're skeptical about this, that's totally reasonable because I was at first. But I'll link their website, their socials, do your research, read up about the product. And if you're interested, you can also join Capsule Club, which is the best way for you to save money in the long run, as it's a subscription-based service that gives you enough kits to take care of all the grail sneakers in your collection. So check out Capsule, again, links are down below, and tell them that you heard about them through me. So this right here is the latest Action Bronson New Balance collaboration, and this is another 990 V6, which follows up the recently released Untitled colorway, which I also reviewed on my channel. So this shoe is nicknamed the Ainozama colorway, but officially, Action Bronson spells this Ainozama backwards, which honestly really confused me at first. I had no idea what that word was supposed to say, something like Ainozama, and it took me a while to realize that it was just Ainozama spelled backwards. So these released on April 18th and they retailed for $220 US or $295 here in Canada. The style code for this shoe is U990AT6, and like any other 990 V6, this shoe is made in the USA. So just like the Untitled colorway in my previous video, the packaging or box that this comes with is exactly the same. So we have this blue colored cardboard box with baklava branding across the top. And then on the bottom half of the box, this is left in more of a natural brown color. So this is exactly the same, just like the Untitled pair. As for the shoe itself, diving into the details, as we start things off with the toe box, this is covered in this very vibrant, hot pink colored open style mesh. Right above this towards the laces, we have this blue colored reflective layer with New Balance branding on it. We have another reflective panel on the medial edge right at the edge of the toe box, but then overlaid on both sides of the toe box itself, we have this perforated synthetic nubuck in more of a dark royal blue. Surrounding the front toe cap, we have this tan colored suede, and this is a genuine suede. It's not synthetic whatsoever, but it feels a little bit rough to the touch and it is more of a flat suede. Covering the eyelets, however, we have a very light green colored suede, but then the top 2 eyelets, this is covered in a reflective panel in a mix of silver and blue. Underneath this, we have the New Balance N logo. This is reflective also, and it's done in a mix of silver and more of a lighter shade of blue. And then underneath this, we have another layer of that tan colored suede. Moving further down, we have this reflective silver layer here. This loops towards the heel of the sneaker. And then above this, we have more of that bright pink colored mesh. Covering the bottom of the heel, we have another suede layer, and we have 990 branding pressed onto the lateral side. Above this, we have this synthetic layer in black with Made in USA branding, and then we have this mesh overlay on the very top of the heel. In terms of laces, this is pretty standard when it comes to Action Bronson New Balance collab, but they only come with 1 lace option, and this is a rope style lace done in more of an orangey red color with black colored detailing. And then beneath this, for the tongue, the bottom half is covered in a very deep red, almost burgundy colored mesh. But then overlaid on the top of the tongue, we have this gray colored overlay with baklava and New Balance co-branding. The back of the tongue and the interior of the shoe, this is lined in mesh, and like any other 990 V6, the collar is pretty minimally padded. For the insoles, these come with a pretty decently padded foam-lined insole. It's lined in this black finish on top, and we have baklava and New Balance co-branding. This is pressed onto the heel. So the upper of the 990 V6, it sits atop this very chunky midsole, which is crafted out of a mix of fuel cell and New Balance's end cap technologies. So the midsole is painted in gray on the forefoot and more of an off-white color on the heel. And in between this, you can see the end cap wedge. End cap is basically a dual density foam consisting of a softer core surrounded by a stiffer rim, which gives you a good balance of softness with support. And then as I turn the shoe over to the bottom, here we have your typical 990 V6 outsole. This is done primarily in black rubber, but we have this icy blue rubber on the forefoot. And you can see the grooves that give it a little bit more flexibility. And running down the heel, we have that exposed fuel cell foam, which sits right above the rubber outsole. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this pair. And for those wondering about how these fit, to me these fit like any other 990 V6. So I personally prefer to go a half size down because the 990 V6 is a shoe that runs pretty long lengthwise. If you have a narrow, normal, or even a slightly wide foot, I'd recommend going a half size down from what your actual measured foot size is. So for me, my foot measures as a true size 10 when I step on a Brannick device, so I got these in a size 9.5. To give you guys a point of comparison, I wear a 9.5 in most made in USA New Balance shoes like the 992, 993, and most of the 990 series, whereas I go true to size or a size 10 in a lot of the made in Asia and made in UK models like the 2002R, 860 V2, 991, and 1500. But long story short, if you're able to try on a 990 V6 in store first, that's what I'd highly recommend because it's a pretty unique fitting sneaker in that it's quite long. But if you have like a really wide foot, I might caution against going a half size down because this toe box area can be a little bit snug straight out of the box. Moving on to the comfort, so the 990 V6 is one of the most comfortable New Balance silhouettes, but keep in mind if you're looking for a very stable, stiff, and lower profile sneaker, this is not going to be it. The V6 with the combination of fuel cell and end cap, it has a pretty dynamic feel on foot, meaning it's not the most stable feeling sneaker. You can feel the compression of the foam, and it has a little bit of that sensation that you're kind of moving all the time. Not to the point that it's uncomfortable or strange feeling. The 990 V6, don't get me wrong, I still find them very, very comfortable, but it's not going to feel the same as like a 990 V3, V4, or V5. But again, just like for the sizing recommendation, if you're able to try these on in store, even in a different colorway, I do that first just to get a real sense of how these feel on foot. Finally, in terms of the quality and craftsmanship, so first off, the material quality I thought was pretty average. Yes, they do utilize genuine suede on this shoe, but I really wasn't too impressed with the suede quality. I even felt like it was slightly below what I typically would see on a made in USA New Balance shoe. Maybe I just got unlucky with the specific cut of suede that was used on my shoe. So let me know in the comment section down below for those that have these in hand. How was the suede quality on yours? Did it feel a little bit scratchy and a little bit flat to the touch? Or was it just an exception, I just got unlucky? As far as the overall build of the shoe goes though, I thought it was pretty solid. There were some very minor issues like some long threads that I had to trim down myself with scissors, but aside from that, the panels I thought were consistent and placed symmetrically between my right and left feet, and it was pretty much free of glue stains as well. So all in all, it wasn't the best New Balance sneaker that I've seen, and it really didn't feel too premium as far as a collaboration shoe goes, but there wasn't too much aside from that for me to feel disappointed about. So with all of that out of the way now, let me toss these on feet, I'll lace them up, and I'll show you guys how these look. All in all, this colorway is very unique, I'll give it that. As far as how well the colors go together, personally for me, it's not one of the standouts and it's not one of my favorites when it comes to Action Bronson and New Balance collaborations. I don't know, there's just something about the mix of this hot pink with the tan and the royal blues, it just doesn't really go together for me. I know a lot of people were preferring this colorway over the Untitled, but for me, the clear winner of the two was the Untitled. I just think it's a much cleaner colorway, it just goes better together, whereas this one just feels a little bit more random. Don't get me wrong though, it's not a bad shoe. I just struggle a little bit thinking about how I can pull this off from an outfit standpoint. And again, there's just something about the colors used on this shoe which just kind of clash and they just don't really work that well. But Let me know in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on this Amazonia colorway? Are you a fan of this strange color combination? Or are you like me and you prefer the Untitles over these? Leave your thoughts down below and let's talk about it because I'm very curious to see your opinions. As usual, if you guys enjoy this review, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can check me out on social media. I'll add my Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff down below for you guys to check out. And again, thank you to Capsule for sponsoring today's video. So until next time, thank you everyone for watching. Appreciate your continued love and support, and I'll catch everybody in my next video.